Hey everybody, and welcome to my first video tutorial and my first video here at my new Heroes of Newerth channel. So, I'm going to start off this tutorial by saying I am by no means an expert. I am just a guy who plays a lot of Heroes of Newerth. I've read a lot of tutorials and I've read a lot of guides. And basically I'm just kind of jumbling them up and spewing them out at you guys, so to speak. And hopefully I can help at least a few people out there maybe solve the little misconceptions that everyone's throwing out about this game. This tutorial will be answering the most complex yet basic question that every newbie asks, whether they're either new to Heroes of Newerth, new to a hero. It's the simple question that is, what item do I get on my hero? You know, you're brand new to the game or you're brand new to a hero, you're not quite sure how you want to build your hero, you're not quite sure how you should build your hero, so you ask that question. And you'd be surprised, but every hero, give or take a few different items, should be built relatively the same way in the very beginning. This is going to be a two-part tutorial, this one being on what items to get at the beginning of the game, part 2 being mid to late game, which will obviously won't be as accurate because it varies a lot on your hero. So let's start, shall we? I'm going to start by blowing out a few misconceptions about this game right away. Believe it or not, marchers, quote-unquote boots, aren't the best item to get as a first item. Crazy, I know. Let me explain why. To explain why marchers aren't the best item to get, let's look at the pros and cons of getting them. 1. Pro. You get back from the well faster. Definitely a good pro. 2. Better mobility to get farther away from ganks early game. That is a good pro, however very situational. Now let's look at the cons for marchers. 1. You get no stat bonus at all. 2. It takes up 80% of your starting gold just with this. You can only either get 2 mana potions or another rune after that. There's nothing else you can get, no stat bonuses at all. 3. No lane pushing bonuses. You know, no stats, no nothing, no regen, no extra regen to help you push, etc, etc. Another misconception that people think is a good idea is to get, Soul Scream Ring, Talisman of Exile, or Fortified Bracelet first. Although those items are usually kept till late game, which is obviously a pro, let's look at the other pro real quick. You get +3, +3, and +6 to the stats, which one you choose. That's fantastic. But those are 2 cons right there. I mean, those are 2 pros right there. Let's look at the cons for that. You spend almost just as much money, between 460 and 510, I think, is the difference between them all. That's a huge chunk gone, just like marchers. And for the money that you spend on it, you could easily get it somewhere else. You could easily get those stats somewhere else. You could fill up your whole inventory with minor totems and get a better stat bonus for half that price, all about 60% of that price. So you can obviously see that that's a con. Again, it takes up all your money, so you can't get other stat bonuses, other regen items, etc. So I think that those cons really outweigh the pros there. So what items should we get? Well, there's an awesome item that isn't really used a whole lot in game. You can't really save it, but it is very worthwhile. This item is a Minor Totem. It will give you +1 to all stats, strength, agility, intellect. And although you can only use it in 2 different items, you're not really losing a whole lot when you end up selling it. And you will end up making more money just by having it than you would by anything else. Let me explain. If you have more stats, you're able to not only do more damage, you have more health and more mana. This allows you to push lanes a lot faster, able you to last hit creeps a lot easier, and push towers early on a lot easier. Now obviously, if getting these little tiny things helps you get an extra 200 gold from killing that tower or an extra 43 gold from killing that creep, it's definitely worthwhile to have these items. Not only that, you'll get +3, +3, +3 if you just get 3 of those minor totems. That will only take up 159 gold out of your starting gold, and that leaves a lot of extra money for maybe a Mark of the Novice, which is the starting item for the Talisman of Exile, which gives you extra intellect, which will boost your mana pool early on. And you can also get more Runes of Blight, and you can also get more mana potions, especially if you're a hero killer type, so you can easily get those ganks early on. and, you know, harass non-stop. So obviously you can see how this is definitely a really good item to have. So, what did we really learn? We learned that marchers are good for escaping ganks and get back into the well, but you waste too much money on them for them to be truly viable. What about the Soul Scream Ring, Talisman of Exile, Fortified Bracelet? Pros, they give you some nice stat bonuses, but for the price, it's not there. And although you can keep them till the end of the game, you'll make more money going another route, so you'll be able to buy those anyhow a lot faster as well. We learned that Minor Totems are very, very useful. Not in just pushing lanes, but getting more money, harassing enemy heroes, ganking early, etc, etc. The list goes on. And remember, whoever has the strongest early game, harasses, ganks the most, usually ends up winning. Keep that in mind when you're buying your starting items. Now I digress. There are two heroes that come to the top of my head when I think Marchers first. I think Swiftblade, because of his whirlwind-esque attack. I don't play Swiftblade, sorry, I can't tell you what it is, but if you've seen him, of course you have, you know exactly why it's worth it. 2, Rampage. The reason I would say Rampage is, although I don't play him, I don't really know how much it affects it. I think he gets, right from the bat, it's like 4% extra attack damage from your movement speed. So the more movement speed you do, the more damage. And if I'm not mistaken, you get about 14 or 16 extra damage right off the bat, which is more than you would get from stacking a whole inventory of Minor Totems. Plus, it's an item that you will keep late game and you will really use late game. So, that's pretty much it for my tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned a few things. And just don't be one of those people who argues with me in game telling me that boots are always the best thing to get, because in reality they're really not. Thanks for watching. Hope you check out some of my other videos. Rate, comment, and subscribe. Thanks.